What's up, everybody? This is Richard Reacts. I'm Richard, and this is where I react. We're going to be talking about a video. It's going to be brief today, hopefully. Michael Knowles, who I like a lot, probably my favorite Daily Wire guy, not like you asked. But he's watching a video of a lady doing a selfie video. So it's one of those. And yeah, let's just watch it, and we'll see. Let's see. Somewhere. Where is it? There it is.
MAGA, admit it. When you see California burning, you're like, yeah. You know why I know that? Because every time I hear a hurricane's coming or a big tornado, I always say, please, please, let it only hit the white trailer courts. And especially the ones with the Dixie flag. So yeah, at least I'm not afraid to admit it.
Okay. Trailer courts? What? All right, that's the show. There's so many problems here. Like, it's just... First of all, she's... Oh, I forget the word. I should have looked it up. But I had it. Projecting, right? She's projecting a truth about herself onto other people. And she thinks, well, I live in blue California. These idiots live in red Kentucky or red Alabama or red Florida, and they're just happy. First of all, most MAGA, which make America great again, like, don't you want America great? Don't you want your country great? That's what, like, leftism, I mean, it's a mental disease. Like, it literally is. And if you don't want your country to be great, you're a psychopath, and go to a place that you think is great, like, I don't know, Sweden or Cuba or North Korea. Like, it's the most, I think it's the most cohesive thing. It's not a bad thing. Like leftism, progressivism, progressing towards a cliff, for example, it's not a good thing. And that's what a lot of them are doing, at least ideologically. But MAGA, make America great again. Go ahead, MAGA. She's calling everybody MAGA, right? I get what she means. Trump supporters / people, red people, whatever. Most of them are not Christians. I get that. But a lot of them are. And certainly as Christians, even if you're, maybe not as conservative or not as whatever, the average person, especially the average conservative, is not happy at all about California burning. I am from California. I lived there my whole life till I was 30. Okay, my wife is from there. Our first 2 children are born there. I have family still there. I am disgusted. I'm angry. I wrote an article about it for American Reformer, about the dereliction, the $18 million budget cut, the lack of water, the lack of personnel, of course, pushing the LGBT nonsense. It's your all fault. I'm angry about that, for burning down many houses and buildings and structures, people dying because of dereliction, because of lack of duty to help your fellow man. We're angry. We're not happy. What psychopath is happy? I mean, you're obviously happy, which is just, she's making like a Jennifer Coolidge. At least that's what I hear. She's like, oh man, go ahead, America. What? Why would we be happy with this? That's disgusting. Like, do you know any conservatives? I mean, I highly doubt it. She's in her own little, blue, hyper blue bubble. And it's just sad. Because it's like, first of all, you have your own heart. She's already revealing it, right? And then she thinks other people in the red states, Texas, wherever, are cheering that on. No, that's not the way conservatives think. Conservatives want to be left alone. Conservatives don't want to fight. Conservatives generally think and care for the average person. Not all the time, always, but significantly more than Democrats. Democrats say it in word, conservatives do it in action. That's just what it is. That's why most Christians who aren't crazy are conservatives or Republican. Because Republicans, and I just had another conversation with a different guy about Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter, oh, I'm a Christian. But he goes and hangs out with dictators, right? In the 80s, 70s, 80s and 90s, especially after he got out of the presidency. Oh, do this, helping abortion. I think Jesus would be for gay marriage. No, he wouldn't. He wouldn't be for killing babies. He wouldn't be for any of these things. You have a wrong view of Jesus. And yet it's these words, oh, we got to help these people. We got to hug them with our words. And yet their actions so often deny it. Now, Jimmy Carter did do, Habitat for Humanity and things like that. But going and supporting and hanging out with tyrants, right? Fidel Castro and guys like that, Nicolas, or not Maduro, the guy before him, way, way before. The South American tyrants from the 70s, 80s, 90s. You're hating your fellow neighbor, as it were, by supporting the Brazilian, the Cuban people, by thinking you're just going to, hug all the tyranny out of Castro. Conservatives don't do that. Conservatives act. We might not say those things, but we act. This is why the media and Hollywood and big tech, by and large, is leftist, because it's just words. That words are empty. They don't actually have to have any meaning, and they just jump from thing to thing to thing. This is how they get elected. Conservatives actually generally act. Now, not all of them, but many of them. So a couple of Bible verses to just get this application, because, most MAGA, quote unquote, is Republican, right? Not most of MAGA, most of MAGA is Christian. Or most Christians are MAGA. Well, there we go. AKA Republican, AKA conservative, whatever. Romans 12, contribute to the needs of the saints and seek to show hospitality. Right there. So that's, again, this is for Christians. Everybody should do this, but this is what Christians are called to do. And when you get changed by Christ, you come under conviction of your sin, you repent and believe, he changes you, you're a new creation, the old things have passed away, etc. Bless those who persecute you. Oh, wow. This is Paul writing, not Jesus. It is Jesus, you know what I mean. But some people want to go red letter Christian, blah, blah, blah. Bless those who persecute you. Bless and do not curse them. Rejoice with those who rejoice. Weep with those who weep. And I'm weeping for California. It's sad. It's disgusting. It's frustrating. It's so many things. And yet we think, what? How are we supposed to deal with this? Well, why did this happen? There's all these questions, and you have Newsom and Karen Bass, and they're just making excuses. Oh, permits now. It's this. It's that. There's still fires though. There's one near where we lived last 11 years ago. It's just crazy that people think like this, and she thinks that's a badge of honor, right? At least I'm willing to admit it. Why would you want to admit that? Just live in harmony with one another, right? Generally, most conservatives, even if they're not Christians, still want to do that because they're conservative. They don't want the government telling them what to do, the government in their life. They don't want to force these things necessarily on a lot of other people. Most people. Do not be haughty, right? That's huge. But associate with the lowly. Never be wise in your own sight. Repay no one evil for evil. Right there. There's another principle. I'm not happy about this. I don't know anyone who's happy about this. No one. And I know a lot of conservatives, way more than this lady. But give thought to what is honorable in the sight of all. If possible, so far as it depends on you, live peaceably with all. Proverbs 19:17 is another one. Whoever is generous to the poor lends to the Lord, and he will repay his deed. It's another one. Galatians 6, the whole chapter's great. Matthew 5:42, give to the one who begs you and do not refuse the one who would borrow from you. On and on and on. There's so many biblical passages. The Good Samaritan, going and helping people, right? This isn't the end all of Christianity. Make no mistake. This isn't everything this is the only thing that Christians should do. No. But it's certainly something that Christians must do. It's not the only thing, but it's certainly something that we should do. We must do. Again, not every MAGA is a Christian. I know that. I'm very aware of that. But if you're going to pick between MAGA and leftist Democrats in some capacity, you're going to have a lot more Christians over here. And most Christians are geared toward that unless they're socially want to be affiliated with the New York Times, like David French and Russell Moore and guys like that. And left side Christians who are trying to be cool or something, which you're never going to be cool enough for the world, by the way, ever. The world is its own thing. It's passing away. It's crumbling. It's falling. It says, do not love the world or the things in the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. And yet, I want to be in the New York Times. I want to be on CNN. Screw CNN. Forget New York Times. Like, what is wrong with you? USA Today is not the barometer. You think it is because they're popular, but they're not really that popular. I mean, New York Times is owned by a Mexican billionaire, Carlos Slim, whatever it is. He bailed them out years ago. George Soros has bailed out many of these other leftist gossip rags that are online that are smaller. Slate and Salon and Vice. Some of them, all of them. I don't know the details on each of those, but I know he's bailed out some of those. And they still go bankrupt. Why? Because nobody buys the stuff, because it doesn't work. It doesn't square with reality. That's the thing. The reality that says we're sitting here talking, or I'm talking, you're listening. The reality says that the sun goes up and comes down. The reality says that breathing air is what humans do, and doing all the things that we do, and eating and sleeping. That's reality. Most leftist stuff doesn't square with reality. It's words, and then action is over here. Words, and then something else is different. Right? Thinking that we need to have lesbian firefighters to, for diversity. And it's like, says who? Says the lesbian firefighters that are in charge. Oh. Are lesbians better firefighters than just men? Well, yeah, because men have had their time at the table. Well, maybe men are just better at firefighting. Maybe that's it. Go figure. Ugh, that's racist. I mean, sexist. No, it's not. That's stupid. Again, you're squaring with reality and saying, who's better at these things? There's lots of things that women are better at than men, right? But there's a lot of things that men are better at than women. I know that sounds like almost to my ears, and though I've never been a feminist, it's still like kind of scratchy and like, oh, don't say that. That sounds icky. Because I've been conditioned, just like you have, in second wave feminism, even in the church. And pretty much everybody in the church today is a second wave feminist, even if they don't know it. I actually heard it yesterday or this week, this last Sunday. Had a really good sermon. I'll share the link if I have it at our pastor, Michael Clary, who preached on gendered virtue. It's kind of his thing. He's written a book on it. He had a conference last year on it. Several different guys, Joe Rigney, Toby Sumter, came and preached at it. And talking about just the assumptions that we have in the church, and whether it's ideological, like you're an avowed feminist, or it's just the secondary thing that you just kind of, that's the air you breathe. So anyway, that's kind of off beyond what this lady's talking about, but I think it's still symptomatic of the problem, because it's something that it just doesn't square with reality. Like, I don't know who she's meeting. Did she really meet somebody? Republicans? No, certainly there are some MAGA that might be happy these fires, but overwhelmingly, I don't know anyone. Now, I'm just a tiny person who knows only a handful of people, and so do you, right? We don't know very many people if you really count it all up. But ultimately what she's doing, she's projecting, which is sad. I mean, this woman, if she repented and believed and she was changed, she would see the old things passing away. She would see the world passing away, and she wouldn't have this like hatred for her fellow man and say, oh, it's white people and their trailer courts, especially with the Dixie flags. Grr. I mean, are you really, like, this is just some caricature, like you watched, My Name is Earl from years ago, or some other TV show. You think like, oh, these are just dumb hillbillies. No doubt there's probably some dumb hillbillies, but there's plenty of dumb leftists who are super wealthy living in your neighborhood, including actually this woman, because who thinks like this? Who thinks like this? It's just unreal. Anyway, hope you found this helpful. If you did, go ahead and like and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. And until next time, God bless. See ya.